Hello there, and welcome to Alvarez's Diecast Customs. Today we're going to be taking a look at this 1969 Dodge Charger from Hot Wheels. I'd like to do a street version on this one. I'm not really feeling the wheels though, so I think we'll have to take a look at those at some point throughout this build. It's a nice casting to begin with, not really feeling the black on it though. This is one of your typical castings with the plastic bases, but there's a lot of detail to be taken out of it. I've already taken the time to drill the body out, so you can see I've already fit the screws into it to save time. I just use a 2mm drill bit to drill the main post out, and then use a larger one, around 5mm, to take the top of the post off, and then stick some self-tapping 5mm screws into there. Comes apart very easily. As you can see, a nice little interior in that one. Some nice detail on the seats. Got some smoked glass. I like the colour of this one. Do you think the smoked ones probably look the best out of all the glass types? It's a nice little body. I have to get it onto stripping the paint now. Get the Potter's paint stripper there. Kind of looks like strawberry yogurt. Yeah, just pop it in there. Yeah, put that lid on nice and tight. Give it a good shake. And let it sit for about 30 minutes. So after 30 minutes we can take it out. I keep a hot water bowl of hot water to the side just to chuck it in when it's out. I'm making a right mess of this one today, getting it all over the counter. There we go, chuck it in there. I use an old toothbrush just to scrape off what's left. There you go, and what you're left with is a bare metal base, sort of body base there. It leaves quite a bit of sort of paint on the insides and in the crevices. I should really probably look at getting a stronger paint stripper. But the one I use is okay. It's cheap, but relatively does the job quite well. Using my fake Dremel to remove some of the paint in the crevices and just polishing up the body. You can see with the paint stripped off, it's quite a sort of chalky finish to the body. We just need to take that back to the bare metal underneath. Go after some considerable time, just polishing that down with the wire wheel. Comes out quite nice. Worked on all the gaps in the doors and everything, taking the paint out of those. Yep, not too bad. Let's get on to some filing now. I like to use a nice fine diamond file for this. As you can see on sort of some of the edges on these bodies, they're quite rough. I just like to take those back, makes them nice and smooth. It's a much better sort of finish to them once you've put the paint on. Just really attacking the rear of the car there with it. Taking that back. Spend a considerable amount of time doing this. A lot longer than it is on the video. Now on the front there, just on the edge of the bonnet, it's a bit rough too. I'll just take that one back too. Just really spend your time with this one. It's one, in my opinion, one of the most important steps in doing these customs is just doing this. It really does finish them off nicely. And on the all four corners of the body on this one, it had these sort of mold imperfections. So I'm really just going to take my time and just get rid of those. Really take it back. Here we are after about 10-15 minutes of filing that stuff down on all the corners on the roof. See, just pointing them out there. Really smooth those out on the roof line there. There was sort of mold imperfections. Took all those off. Also do it around the wheel wells and on the bottom of the sort of bits where the chassis fits into. Just neaten up the line. I'm gonna go with some wet sanding now. I like to use these little fine sponges. Go through a sort of a range of grits to fine to coarse. I'm gonna start off with the coarser one to start off with, just to take away some of the filing marks left on there. I think this is around 1,000 grit for the one I'm using currently. Just go over the whole thing with that. Try to keep in one direction of it. Just really working it into those filing sort of grooves that were made on the roof there. We'll work up to the sort of finer one there. I think that's around 4,000 grit. I don't know. Just finish it off with that. You can see how doing the wet sanding gives the sort of the metal uniform kind of finish to it. It's perfect for adhering to the paint. Just going to degrease the body now, just ready for painting. Don't like to leave any greases, any fingerprints and things. It can cause issues sometimes when you're trying to put the paint on. Get that old toothbrush, give it a good scrub, get in all the gaps and everything. Again, this is another very important step. Try not to skip this one because it really does spoil the finish at the end of it if you don't do it right. Get onto painting the primer now. So I've run out of my Tamiya fine white primer, so I decided to give this Halford's primer in grey a go. Honestly, I'm really happy with the finish of it. It went on really well, great coverage, and it's cheaper than the Tamiya stuff for a larger can, so I may end up sticking with this one. There you go, great, came out great that one. I'm going to go with another Halford's paint this time. Ford Pepper Red in Pearlescent. Sitting out in the garden doing this one as a nice hot day. Perfect for painting. Just giving a relatively heavy-ish first coat just to give a good coverage. Trying to get from all angles, underneath, on all the corners. That's the first coat. Went on quite nicely, that one did. I'm also going to show is the base. I also did a primer coat over that, which I forgot to record. I'm going to go over the entire base in the same red paint. As I noticed, there was some sort of body details on the chassis, so I'd like to keep the body colour underneath of it there. Going over with a second coat, doing a heavier coat this time. Yep, and that's real time. I'm actually that fast. Paint goes on really well. Perfect. It's got really nice glitter sort of effect, quite deep colour to it. Yeah, after a few hours of drying it went on well. And there's the base. Went on really nicely on that too. And there's an interior as well. I also did a primer coat on that. I actually quite like the colour of the primer, so I'm going to keep it for that interior colour and just sort of do some smaller details over it. It's a nice sort of colour grey for it. I'm just picking out some of the details on the body there with some Revell silver paint with a fine brush. Doing the side lights and also the grille on the front on the chassis piece. Painting that in some Tamiya metallic grey XF56. And also picking out some of the details on the chassis there, the sort of suspension arms and differentials, and gearbox and whatnot. Spending time doing that. I quite liked how the effect of painting the chassis came out there. It's a nice finish at the end of it. Yeah, that's all sort of painted up there with one quick coat. I did some more Revell silver just on the grille there and the bumpers, and on the rear picked out the lights. Now it's onto the liquid chrome. I'm going to go around the windows and doors and also go over some of the grille and bumper sections on the chassis with it as well, just to pick out more of the depth to them. Just skip forward, there you go, you can see sort of all the lines on the windows there. Now on the chassis I'm going to put some Citadel Nuln oil over the sort of silvery grey pieces I painted, just to give a bit more depth on the grille and on the rear there, as you can see. Chucking some more Citadel into the interior there. I'll add some more detail to this, but I did it off camera. I need to do something about those wheels, so I'm going to go see our goddess Super Pochaco and see what she can do for us today. Some real riders. Yes, these will do quite nicely. Thanks, Super Pochaco. Just a touch. Yeah, these are great. We don't need the white, the blue line, I should say. We can just turn the rubbers around the other way. Perfect. And they're an ideal fit for the chassis as well. Just slot straight in there, no cutting needed. There's the window. I picked out some of the details on that, and there's the interior. Did some more details into that, as well as putting a gloss coat over the sort of chairs to make them look a bit leathery. Take the screws off of the base there, but we'll stop it from here on. All that into the, put the base on. Put the screws in. And let's take a look at what we started with. As I said, it was a nice sort of little toy car there, but the wheels, I just wasn't feeling them. I felt sort of a street sort of finish to it would really bring it out. The black I really wasn't feeling either. I think I just hid too many of the curves and lines to the car. There we are. That's what we ended up with. Really like how this paint came out. Gave it a good coating of a clear coat. Did 2 coats of that on top of the finished details and all the paint. Really brung the depth out on that metallic there. Those wheels just go great with it. So yeah, really happy with this one. Let's take a bit of a closer look. You can see the chassis. I did a clear coat on that, sealed all the details. And on the front there, the extra chrome pen, it really brings out the depth to the grille there. In the rear there, I took some extra time painting the tail lights there with some Tamiya clear red, and also on the side lights I used some clear red and clear orange. So yeah, came out great. A lovely clear coat on this one too. Definitely found a way to get a good result on that. Now, let's have a look at Super Pochaco again, see what she's got for us next time. What's that under there? Is that for me? Nice. Let's have a look. Ah, it's a Mercury Cougar racing version. I like that. And thank you for watching. This has been Alvarez's Diecast Customs, and I'll see you next time.